In this video today, we are going to review few packed foods based on the knowledge that we got from the previous video on the steps that you need to take on reading the nutrition labels of any packed product. I assume by now you have checked out my previous video and you are aware of the steps that you need to take to read the nutrition labels and understand them. So in this video, we'll take some real world examples that you find in your supermarkets nearby, and we are going to test them and also review them and read the nutrition labels on them and decide if they are something that's good for you or not. The food products that I'm going to review in this video, I'm going to categorize them into three categories based on if that's good for you, and if it's a maybe in the sense you can consume them maybe twice or thrice in a week, or if it's a bad one which you should avoid at all costs. So the first product that we have today is something that's a plant-based one, or also considered as a whole food, which is pistachios. So the front packing of this food, if you observe, it's as normal. It doesn't have any other information, just it shows it's pistachios and also no salt has been added. I'm going based on the tip I have provided you in the video that I've discussed on the 5 steps of reading nutrition labels, and the best tip is to ignore this first branding page on the product and just to go with the nutrition label present on the back as the source of truth. So let's check out the nutrition label on this food. To go over all the steps one by one for this food, so let's start with the number of servings and serving size. So it shows here this packet has about 9 servings per package, and each serving size is about 28 grams without the shells. So this is a shelled one, so the pistachios are gonna have shells, and the serving size, as they clearly mention, it's half cup with shells and 28 grams without shells. So we need to take that into consideration. And the next one is the calories. So the 28 grams of pistachios without shells is going to give you 160 calories. And to go over the nutrient section, we have the total fat. It's 13 grams, out of which the saturated fat is 1.5 grams, which is pretty low for the amount of fat that you're getting on consuming them. So there is no trans fat, and it has been broken down in the unsaturated fats as well. If you observe, the polyunsaturated fat is 3.5 grams and monounsaturated fat is 7 grams. So far this food looks good, and it doesn't have any cholesterol. So as we read on the front side, it mentions as no salt, so that reflects over here. It has 0 milligrams of sodium, and the total carbohydrate is 8 grams. Dietary fiber is 3 grams, which is kind of okay, and you don't have much sugars in pistachios, so it's just 2 grams and there is no added sugars, which is good, which we need. And protein is 6 grams, which is also good. It's kind of high in protein as well. And if you see the micronutrients, we have bunch of different of micronutrients. We have calcium, we have bit of iron, potassium, thiamine, vitamin B6, phosphorus. I mean, the list goes on, and you want this micronutrient profile as extensive as possible to get all the essential nutrients. So far all the information we have seen is good, but only thing that you need to consider here is, like, with 28 grams of pistachios without shells, you are getting 160 calories. So 28 grams is not a much quantity. It's just a small quantity, but you are getting 160 calories, which is kind of high. And when you are during fat loss or weight loss, this can contribute to most number of calories if you are including pistachios or any dry fruits. So next, the step 5 we have is to check out the ingredients. And the ingredients here, it's just pistachios and there is no any added ingredient over here. So overall, this food is good for you to consume, but you need to check out on the calories on a daily basis, and if you can incorporate this food into your current nutrition. So we are going to categorize this food as a good food which you should be consuming. So the next one, we have the Oreo cookies, and I think almost everyone know about Oreo cookies, and we some or other point in our life have consumed them. So let's check out the front packing of it. It doesn't show off any extra information. It's just a name and a picture. So let's check out its nutritional information. So it's about 16 servings per container and the serving size is 3 cookies or 34 grams. So how many calories are you getting for 3 cookies? You're getting around 160 calories by eating just 3 cookies. Let's get into the total fat that it contains. It has 7 grams of fat, out of which 2 grams is the saturated fat and the rest of 5 grams is the unsaturated fat, as we don't have any trans fat in this. And you don't have any cholesterol here, it shows us 0 milligrams, and you have a bit of sodium, it's 135 milligrams, which is 6% of your daily value, and you have 25 grams of carbohydrate, less than 1 gram of fiber, and the total sugars over here, which you need to be mindful, it's 14 grams and it's not naturally occurring sugars. All the 14 grams which you consume is from the added sugars, which we need to avoid. And the protein here is pretty bad, just 1 gram, and you don't get any of the micronutrients over here. It's almost all negligible except for iron, which is 1.4 milligrams. And based on this information so far, it clearly tells you that this is not a type of food which you need to consume regularly, as it does not provide any of the essential nutrients which your body needs. On top of that, it is loaded with calories, as just 3 cookies are going to give you 160 calories, and we know we are not going to stop with 3 cookies, so you just consume a lot of them and get into a calorie surplus, which can affect your goals. And if you check out the ingredients as well, we, as discussed in the previous video, general rule of thumb, if the ingredients list is crossing 2 to 3 lines, it is generally considered as highly processed food. And the first few ingredients here refers that much quantity of them are used in making this product. So the first ingredient is unbleached enriched flour, wheat flour, and the next one is niacin and reduced iron, thiamine, mononitrate, all bunch of chemicals which is kind of harmful for you. To categorize this product, I would be placing it in the bad ones, which you should avoid. And the next one we have is the home style orange juice with some pulp in it. It mentions as 100% orange juice. It shows even as never from concentrate, all the brandings and stuff. Let's see how much truth does it reflect. Alright, coming on to the step 1, the servings. It's about 6 servings per container and the serving size is 240 ml. And with 240 ml of this juice, you are getting 110 calories, out of which total fat is 0, sodium is 0, total carbohydrate is 26 grams, and total sugars are 22 grams. And 0 grams of it is added sugars, which is good. We need that. That means that all 22 grams, as they mentioned here, are naturally occurring sugars from the oranges. And the protein is kind of low, it's 2 grams. And the micronutrient profile here, it's high in vitamin C, and it's also have trace amounts of potassium and calcium. So far this looks good, as this is a fruit. We know that it would be high in carbohydrates and also high in sugars, and that kind of reflects over here. And to check out the ingredients, this manufacturer haven't provided any ingredient list, but it did mention contains orange juice from US and Brazil, the fruits that they have taken from that country. So based on the information so far, I would place this item in a maybe category. Like, you can consume it a few times, but as there is no ingredients list present, I'm not sure what they have added or any preservatives or any type of chemicals that they have added, because they haven't disclosed that information. So I'm placing that in a maybe category. If you are someone who likes orange juice, I would suggest buying an orange juice extractor so that you can extract your juice on your own and then store them. That is much better than buying this one. So the next one we have is the dairy milk chocolate. This is a milk chocolate and a pretty famous one, as I reckon we all heard about this. We'll see if this is a food that you should be consuming regularly or not. So going over the nutrition facts, starting from the step 1, which is the servings, you have about 3.5 servings per container, and the serving size is like 5 blocks. We know that this chocolate is divided into blocks, so a serving size would be 5 blocks or 28 grams, and this is going to give you 150 calories of energy. Out of 150 calories of energy, the total fat here is 8 grams, and out of 8 grams, 5 grams is saturated fat, which we know we need to avoid the saturated fat because it's bad for you, but this contains higher levels of saturated fat. And this also has a 5 milligram of cholesterol and also contains sodium, also have a total carbs of 16 grams. This doesn't have any fiber, and it has 16 grams of total sugars. And out of this 16 grams, all the 16 grams are added sugars, which accounts for 32% of your daily intake if you check over the percentage daily value. And protein is 2 grams, which is significantly low. And the other micronutrients are, you don't have any vitamin D, you just have a trace amounts of calcium and potassium. So just based on this, quite clear that this is kind of a bad food, which is not suggested that you eat them regularly because it doesn't give you any significant amount of fiber or protein or any other micronutrients which are helpful and healthy for you. Just to check over ingredients, it has milk chocolate and bunch of other things, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you don't have to go till the ingredient part. Reading the first part, the nutrition label, it's quite evident that this is not something that you need to consume in a regular basis. So to categorize this, I would place them in the bad food section, which you should avoid as much as possible. And the next we have walnuts. So this is walnuts half in pieces. Let's check out the front cover of this package. It shows excellent source of omega-3 fats. It shows us no preservatives, vegan, naturally gluten-free. Okay, so let's check out the nutrition label of this food. So the step 1 servings, this has 10 servings per container, and serving size is about 28 grams or a quarter cup. And as with pistachios, if you remember, for 28 grams, it would give you around 160 calories. This is also kind of similar. For 28 grams of walnuts, you would get around 180 calories. And to go over the nutrient section, so out of 180 calories, you would be getting a total fat of 18 grams. And out of this, 1.5 grams are saturated fat, pretty low, good for us. And it doesn't have any trans fats, and it's loaded with unsaturated fats, which is again that we are looking for, and it's good for us. It doesn't have any cholesterol, no sodium, 4 grams of carbohydrates, 2 grams of fiber, less than a gram of total sugars, 0 added sugars, so good so far. And protein is 4 grams, which is good. And you also have a trace amount of other minerals and vitamins, and also the ingredients list mentioned only walnuts. So far it is high in all the good fats and low in sugars, and also gives you significant amount of protein. So this is type of food that you should be consuming regularly, but be mindful of the calories that it's going to give you. So if this fits into your nutrition diet, make sure that you include them and consume them for all the benefit that it provides. So I'm going to put this in the category of the good foods which you should be consuming. So the next we have multigrain cereal. So this is an interesting one because of all the breakfast cereals that we see in supermarket or any other places, they are rarely healthy for you. Why? We'll see based on this example. So if you see the front of the package here, there are a bunch of things mentioned. It is whole grain, and you get around 28 grams per serving, gluten free, and you get 100% daily value of 9 vitamins and minerals, and also reduces heart diseases. And it also mentions lightly sweetened cereal, which are all pretty appealing for the consumer when they first see this product. Oh, they would be thinking like, wow, this is something that I'm looking for, and they think like this seems pretty healthy for me. But if you ignore the front page and just go back to the nutrition label, you will just discover so much truth about this product. So let's start with the first step, servings. It has about 6 servings per container, and the serving size is about 39 grams. So 39 grams of this cereal in a cup, it's a single serving. And this is a type of nutrition label. This is a dual column nutrition label, whereas one column represents the cereal and the other column represents when the cereal is added with a half cup of skim milk. We just go over the cereal without including the milk. So the 39 grams of cereal is going to give you 150 calories, out of which 1.5 gram is fat, which is the unsaturated fat, but it's pretty low in fats. And this has 0 cholesterol, 150 milligrams of sodium, 32 grams of carbs, and 3 grams of fiber, 8 grams of added sugars. It has 3 grams of protein, which is low again. It has quite an extensive list of vitamins and minerals out here, and it all shows as 100% daily value that you would be getting having a single serving of this product. So far, looking at this, it is not a significant source of healthy fats. It is not a significant source of protein either, and it has a bunch of added sugars, but it's loaded with all the vitamins and minerals over here. And let's get into the ingredients list to check if this is something that you should be eating regularly. So the ingredient list here is quite extensive. It's like whole grain oats, corn, sugar, cornstarch, whole grain rice, whole grain sorghum, brown sugar, all the bunch of additives have been added. So based on this information, this doesn't seem like which is healthy for you. It is also externally bioengineered with adding external vitamins and minerals to showcase the percentage daily value of the vitamins that you are getting by eating this product. But along with that, you would also be getting a bunch of additives and also processed chemicals into your body early in the morning, which you shouldn't do. So I would categorize this as a bad product which you should not be consuming on a daily basis. So the next food product we have is the oats. So as you see here, there are a bunch of varieties in these oats. There are 3-minute oats, there are old-fashioned whole grain oats, there are quick 1-minute oats. These are 3 varieties in these, and we'll check out all these 3 if this is a food that you should be consuming on a regular basis. So first is the 3-minute oats. So if you check over here, this container has around 16 servings of oats. So the serving size here is 1/3 cup dry. Dry means that before cooking it, you measure it before cooking. So the serving size here is the 1/3 cup of it, or 45 grams. And 45 grams of a single serving of oats gives you 170 calories of energy, out of which 3 grams are from fats, and it's pretty low in saturated fat and it's only 0.5 grams. It doesn't have any cholesterol, it doesn't have any sodium. It's a good source of carbohydrate. It has 31 grams of carbohydrates and also 4 grams of fiber, which is also they mentioned as soluble fiber, and it is pretty low in sugars, no added sugars. This also have protein of 6 grams, which is good, and we have a few micronutrients as well. We have trace amounts of iron, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, thiamine, which are all good. And the ingredients also, it's just whole grain steel cut oats. The information that we have read, so no additives have been added here in ingredients. So far the information that we have read, it does indicate that this is a good source of food which is less in fat, a good source of carbohydrates, fiber, and also less in added sugars, and also a good source of protein and other vitamins and minerals. So the next one we have is the old-fashioned oats. This has 13 servings, this container, and the serving size is half cup dry, or 40 grams. Whereas the 3-minute oats, it was 170 calories for 45 grams and this is 150 calories for 40 grams, which I would say both are equal. Based on nutrient information here, I see all the information are kind of similar from the previous 3-minute oats. The only difference would be in the grain. They would have cut the grain to make it cook faster. So you can determine that based on the ingredients. So for the 3-minute oats, we saw it as whole grain steel cut oats, and for the old-fashioned oats, it displays as whole grain rolled oats. Apart from that, there is no difference in the nutrition label. The same with the 1-minute oats as well. It represents the quick cooking time, but the nutritional facts is kind of similar with that of the other two, and the ingredient mentioned here as whole grain rolled oats. So this is a food that you should be consuming on a regular basis for all the benefit that it provides. So I would categorize this as a good food you need to be including in your daily life. Next food we have is something called as energy drink Red Bull, which is quite famous and also advertised as a much essential energy drink that you need for your body when you are low in energy or feeling low, something like that. So let's see if this is a drink that really helps you or if this is something you should avoid. So the front branding does mention that it vitalizes body and mind, which is a big word. So if you go over the nutrition facts, starting with serving size is 1 can, the entire can, which is straightforward. and the calories you get from it is 110, which is pretty high. This is just a 250 ml can, which you can complete it maybe in 3 to 4 gulps. Just in a matter of seconds you are consuming 110 calories in liquid form, which is pretty high. And out of the 110 calories you are getting 0 grams of fats, and you are getting 105 milligrams of sodium, 29 grams of carbohydrates, and total 27 grams of added sugars, which account for 54% of your daily value. I mean, put that into a perspective. Just you are taking 3 to 4 gulps of this Red Bull and you are done with 54% of daily sugar intake that you should be taking in just matter of seconds. That itself is pretty bad, and it doesn't have any protein, and it has a trace amounts of calcium. Niacin is 100% and 250% of vitamin B6, and there is pantothenic acid which is of 50%, and also vitamin B12 of 80%. All high vitamin sources. This indicates that all the micro vitamins and minerals that you have are all in high quantities. And if you check out the ingredients, it's carbonated water, sugar, glucose, few acids, bunch of other things. So I would categorize this into the bad category of foods which you should be avoiding altogether. So these are the bunch of foods, and we have covered all the basic foods that we buy from a supermarket or something, and there are a bunch of others as well, but this should provide you an idea on how to read the labels and how to interpret them and how to decide for yourself if the food that you are buying is doing good for your health or it's just going to destroy your health as a slow poison day by day. So have standards when you are shopping at a supermarket or something, and buy only stuff that you need. Be smart and stop buying the foods that destroy your health. So I hope this information has been helpful and you have learned something new today which will be helpful for you in improving your health. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for all the upcoming videos that are going to come in this channel, which are going to be useful for you to improve your health. Also, if you are looking for all the information on workouts that you can do at the gym or at the home, check out my Instagram profile, as there is bunch of content already present there on all the different workouts you can try and learn. Thank you for watching. I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.